Arizona, lived a young man named Caleb Turner. Caleb was 25, smart, quick-thinking, and incredibly hardworking. He was the kind of person who never complained, no matter how difficult things were. He had a natural talent for problem-solving, and everyone who knew him trusted his judgment. But behind his calm appearance, Caleb was struggling silently. He worked at a local garage fixing cars. The job wasn't his dream, but it paid the bills. His mother had passed away 2 years earlier, and he was supporting his younger sister Emma, who was still in high school. With responsibilities weighing on him and dreams that felt impossible to chase, Caleb often felt like life was getting away from him, like he was walking through fog, unable to see more than a few feet ahead. He wanted to do something greater with his life, but every time he tried to take a step forward, something seemed to push him 2 steps back. Bills, unexpected repairs, problems at work, his sister's school needs, his own self-doubt. Life felt like a storm that wouldn't end. One Friday evening, after a long, exhausting day at the garage, Caleb received news that the shop might shut down because the owner was retiring. If that happened, he would lose the only steady income he had. He walked outside, leaned against an old pickup truck, and exhaled deeply. "What am I supposed to do now?" he whispered to himself. That night he drove up to a quiet overlook near Walnut Canyon, a place he often visited when he needed to think. The night sky was clear, the air cold, and the city lights shimmered below like distant stars. He sat on the hood of his car, staring into the darkness. "I can't catch a break," he said. "Every time I try, something else goes wrong." He felt stuck, lost, surrounded by problems from all sides. While sitting there, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned and saw an older man walking slowly with a small lantern in his hand. The man looked to be in his late 60s. He wore a thick jacket, boots covered in dust, and had the kind of face that held years of stories. The man stopped a few feet away and said, "Beautiful view tonight, isn't it?" Caleb nodded politely. "Yeah, I guess so." The man stepped forward and said, "You look troubled, son. Mind if I sit?" Caleb hesitated, then nodded. Something about the man felt calm, trustworthy. The old man took a seat beside him and said, "My name's Mr. Harris. I take evening walks up here to clear my mind." "I'm Caleb," he replied quietly. After a moment of silence, Mr. Harris looked at him gently and asked, "What's weighing on you?" Caleb sighed. "Life. Everything. Honestly, I feel surrounded. No matter where I turn, there's another problem waiting." Mr. Harris nodded slowly, as if he understood more than Caleb expected. "I felt that way once," he said softly. "But I learned something that changed my life forever." Mr. Harris stood up and motioned for Caleb to follow him. "Come with me for a minute." Caleb followed him along a narrow dirt trail deeper into the woods. After a short walk, they reached a small cabin behind the trees. It wasn't fancy, just a wooden structure with an old door and a porch light flickering quietly. Inside, the cabin was warm and simple. A fireplace glowed gently. On the table sat a large glass jar, a bucket of water, and several medium-sized rocks. Mr. Harris pointed at the jar and said, "I want you to fill this jar to the top using this cup of water and these rocks." Caleb looked confused. "That seems impossible." "Just try," Mr. Harris said, smiling. Caleb began pouring the water into the jar. Only a little filled the bottom. Then he placed a few rocks in, then more water, then more rocks, then more water. After a few tries, the jar reached the very top. Water brimmed at the edge. Caleb stepped back. "I still don't understand what this is supposed to mean." Mr. Harris smiled. "Look closely." Mr. Harris explained, "Life is like this jar. Problems, responsibilities, fears, they come from everywhere. If you panic and try to pour everything in at once, the jar overflows. You'll feel overwhelmed." He tapped the glass gently. "But if you stay calm, work step by step, and focus on one thing at a time, everything will fit. Even the big problems won't break you." He looked directly into Caleb's eyes. "Right now you feel surrounded, just like this jar felt when you tried to fill it. But your real power comes from focusing, not fearing." Caleb listened quietly, absorbing every word. Fear makes you blind, Mr. Harris continued. But focus? Focus gives you clarity. It helps you think clearly when everything else feels chaotic. Then he added something that hit Caleb deeply. Most people panic when life corners them. They run without thinking. But sometimes the answer is not to run. The answer is to stay calm and do the next right thing. Caleb felt something shift in his chest, a spark. Just as Caleb was about to speak, they heard shouting from outside. A teenage boy burst into the cabin. He was frightened, shaking. "Mr. Harris, there's a fire spreading near the lower trail. The wind is pushing it toward the road." Caleb felt his heart slam into his chest. Wildfires weren't unusual in Arizona, but this close? That was dangerous. Mr. Harris didn't panic. He didn't shout. He simply walked calmly to a small closet, grabbed 2 fire blankets and a flashlight. "Caleb, come with me. But remember what we talked about. Focus, not fear." They walked outside quickly. A faint orange glow was visible between the trees. Smoke drifted upward. The teenage boy cried, "My dog ran into the woods. I tried to get him, but..." Caleb didn't think. He sprinted toward the trail, flashlight in hand. He yelled, "Where did he go?" The boy pointed through the smoke. Caleb ran in. Branches scratched his arms, smoke burned his throat, and flames crackled in the distance. The glow got brighter. He felt fear creeping in. What if I'm too late? What if I can't find the dog? What if I get trapped? Then he heard Mr. Harris's voice echo in his mind. Focus, not fear. He forced himself to breathe, to think, to listen. And then, a faint barking sound. He followed the sound, weaving through trees until he found a small brown dog trembling under a fallen branch. Caleb scooped him up gently and ran back toward the cabin. Mr. Harris and the boy were waiting. "You did it!" the boy cried. But Caleb shook his head. "I didn't do it, Focus did." A few minutes later, fire crews arrived and contained the blaze. No homes were damaged. No one was hurt. Caleb stood to the side, breathing deeply, holding the little dog in his arms. Mr. Harris walked up beside him. "Now you understand," he said. Caleb looked at him with new eyes. "I think I do. When everything feels out of control, that's exactly when we need to stay calm." "Exactly," Mr. Harris replied. "Your power is not in avoiding challenges, it's in facing them with clarity." Caleb nodded. "But how do I apply this to my life? My job? My responsibilities?" Mr. Harris smiled. "Step by step, one decision at a time, one problem at a time, just like the jar." He placed a hand on Caleb's shoulder. "And remember, sometimes the problems around you aren't there to destroy you. Sometimes they are there to shape you." That night, Caleb drove home with a new mindset. He didn't have all the answers. The garage might still close, bills still needed paying, life was still difficult. But something was different. He felt in control of his mind. He felt steady. He felt focused. Over the next few weeks, Caleb applied Mr. Harris's lesson to everything. Instead of panicking about the garage closing, he researched certifications for auto mechanics. Instead of worrying about bills, he budgeted carefully and found a part-time night shift at a grocery store. Instead of feeling hopeless, he started setting small daily goals, one step at a time. Soon, he applied for a mechanical technician position at a large car dealership in Phoenix. His calm attitude during the interview impressed the manager. 2 weeks later, he was hired, full-time, better pay, better future. His life didn't turn around because problems disappeared. His life turned around because he stayed focused even when surrounded by challenges. If you're watching this right now and you feel overwhelmed, if life feels like it's attacking you from every direction, listen carefully. You are stronger than the problems around you. Your fear is louder than your reality, and your focus is more powerful than your fear.